what is it, Thursday? Yeah, I think it's Thursday. I slept, so I'm pretty lost as to what day it is already. Um, just a heads up for those of you joining in case you don't notice the title. We are on the PTR today, and we're going to be taking a look at the housing tutorial area. Not necessarily the quest that it has, but more what you see on the tutorial plot. Um, Fair warning, this isn't like upcoming decor. It's just that for me, if I see decor on the plot, then I think, well, obviously they have it set so that maybe eventually we'll have those pieces. It's kind of like a slap in the face or rude if they show us, hey, these things are on our plot, but you can't have them on yours. So I just thought it would be kind of fun to spend today just goof, goofing around on the PTR housing plot and looking at all of the things that we might like to have and maybe even talk about some of our own personal wish lists as far as what we'd like to see in housing in the future, be it immediately or things to come down the road. Because I think most of us realize that there's a lot of technical aspects that go into what's viable for quick and easy additions and what could pose problematic issues as far as like coding and lag and things like that. I think most of us are clear that like the decor count placed, the bigger that number is, the less likely it will be viable for everybody that might want to visit your plot to not have it crash on them. Because I think even at the limits that we are at right now, we have a lot of players that their computers just can't handle the load and it crashes if they come onto a plot that's got their item decor limits maxed out. So until more optimization hits or they change something about how the housing system and the instance itself works, I think that will always pose an issue. But things like item storage, I think that could work a little different, would have room for more leeway than what we have right now. Good morning, Bones. Thanks for joining. So just fair warning that we're going to be taking a look at the PTR housing tutorial area, the little zone that you go to. If you're not interested in seeing that, having it spoiled, please feel free to just skip off to something else. This is mostly just for those that are interested in taking a look that either just don't want to hop onto the PTR exclusively for that. For those like myself that don't really go around making alts on a regular basis, for me, these new starter areas and the changes that they've made, most of it I've not seen since I first started playing WildStar because I simply just don't do a lot of alt creation. Um, I say that, and I have a lot of alts, but it's like I made them en masse, like way back when. So in general, for the tutorial up to this point, and even past the housing part, I found it pretty good. I think there's some debate on whether folks even feel like the housing belongs in the tutorial, at least at this stage. Because once you finish the tutorial, basically you're level 3 and you're into the first little starter zone. Um, for me, I find it's well placed because there is a brief mention of the Jump Starter Pack, which can allow you to have earlier housing access. Typically, you have to be level 14, but the Jump Starter Pack allows you to join in to the housing scene at level 3. So if they wait to kind of mention housing, until after that, then those that do opt to get that early access, they're kind of left without really knowing what to expect. So I think overall, I think the inclusion of the housing at this point, even at level 1 and 2, is a smart move. It, in my opinion, it gives extra incentive for those that even if they opt not to purchase the Jump Starter Pack, which it's obviously an optional thing, it's not required. Um, I think I think it's a good incentive to level to that magical 14. So, you know, I'm sure there's lots of people that probably disagree with that notion, but for me, as a housing advocate, I really appreciate that Carvine has taken the time to revamp the housing tutorial. I didn't join the beta at the very start, so I kind of missed the initial approach to it. I came in after they had removed, like, I think in the beginning there was like critters that you had to kill on your plot, and you had marauders invade and things like that, and there was a lot of negative feedback about that, so they took it all out, and that's when I joined in, as after the fact. And but I think this is a good push towards that. So yeah, Bones, I agree. I think it's a good push because whether people are into housing or not, it is a big not only draw for those of us that enjoy it. It's also a big money supporter as well because a lot of the cosmetics is not just pets and mounts anymore, it's also decor. So, you know, if Carbine is intent on surviving and we are intent on encouraging that, then I think this is for those that feel like it's a misplacement, I think it's a small price to pay if it means um, a longevity to the game. If it encourages people that might like to, you know, buy all that extra decor and the fab kits and the special unlocks and things, I think that's a definite plus. So we're just going to step in. I just picked up the quest to investigate, so we're going to hop in and see what there is. Now I'm hoping there's not too many people that are bugged by that loading screen there. And obviously there's no sound on this particular one. From what I understand, most of that will come at the end. So you just kind of get an overview of what's possible. And I'm sure there's like a nice little dialogue of Proteus, Phineas doing his little rant and everything. But as you can see, they've got a pretty filled in plot. There's a lot to look at. So anyone that's just getting into the game that's never seen housing, they're going to be like, you know, totally bombshelled. But for those of us that are a little bit more familiar with it, we're still kind of bombshelled by some of the things that have been included on this plot. And that's what we're going to be looking at now. Well, that's up to debate. It doesn't feel dead to me, so completely up to you. I don't see any harm in giving it a try. It's free to play, so you know there's no excuse. Anyway, this very first thing that I noticed was the little mount display. I don't know if it's something they just set in to kind of give beginner players a little bit of a heads up as to some of the mounts that's available, but it's definitely something a lot of builders have been asking for. Some kind of a stables, corral, something to showcase their mounts. And clearly uh, it's, you know, something the designers have thought about too, because I mean they've designed this little thing, but talk about something that people would love to get a hold of. Um, Looks like some different fencing for that. It's a cross between the wooden fence and the ramshackle fence as well. the different hay piles. We've seen these in the open world quite a bit, like around in Galeris and stuff, I think. So it's nice that, I don't know, like I said, these aren't like indications of coming decor, but obviously the possibility is there. Yeah, definitely. I think Exiles is much more populated. That's not to say that you can't play Dominion and there aren't Dominion playing. It's just with so many of us already kind of having been here for a long while and already in the higher levels, those zones are going to be much more populated anyway. So some of the starter areas might not be so much so. But that could change, of course, once the Steam release hits, as we would expect an influx of new players. But and it also depends on the time of day that you play. If you're going to play like in the mornings, like now, yeah, you're going to see a lot fewer people, even in the cities and stuff. That's just a given. Prime time is always going to be your top number as far as population goes and activity. Hey, Maddie, good morning. And hello to Neil and Zari. Zarilon, Zari. I'll say Zari, it's shorter. So anyway, just looking at some of the things, it would be fun to have these would be great for not just the corral, but like for those that have little shop markets kind of things, these would be perfect for that. Um, Garages, uh, just all sorts of stuff. I could see people using that for a lot of things. I mean, even if it came in this one solid piece, minus the table or something, I think that would be very fun to have an item. And of course, obviously, the mounts, having them to be able to display, um, it's debatable on how we would get a hold of them. Maybe if we owned them, then they get unlocked in the decor vendor. That would be fun. Or maybe you have to quest to open up uh, a way to get the decor. Or maybe it just comes as a fab kit. I think I almost say they would probably do it as a fab kit, but I think a lot of folks would love to have the individual pieces. Hey, Benny. Good morning. Thanks, guys, for joining. Let's see what else is here. We already have the hitching posts, and I think the stones would probably be something folks would want as well. These dark brown stones. In fact, I'm pretty sure I saw at least a few posts talking about that, saying we need some darker stones. We have the gray and the sandstone, but I think it's Derridune or something that has the really dark ones, and a lot of people's been asking for that. Now you're going to have to just ignore this silly arrow that keeps telling me to go there. I don't know how to turn that off, but I'm ignoring it for now. We already have the windmill fab kit. If I talk to him, it'll probably switch it. One thing I noticed when I was going through the PTR testing last night, um, um, as every time someone would talk to the little architect guy here, it would change the fab kit. Obviously, it's not doing that now because I think I'm basically the only person here at this hour, but it was interesting to see the different fab kits. And thankfully, there are a few that are newer that you don't normally see. So like you have this um, rock kind of thing with the waterfall on it, a little bit of overgrowth and different kinds of bushes and stuff. Like this is like our dark moss bush, but it's a little taller and a little bit more spaced in between each little clump, which is interesting. And look at the water on the pool. Wouldn't that be awesome to have? It's a little more calm than the rushing river stuff that we have and everything. Yeah, that's another thing I think some people might have missed was the slots that are available. There seems to be a lot more. It could be something, I mean, they had the slots, I think they were planning on testing it before, and so maybe this is a hint that it's on its way. You know, fingers crossed that that's what that means, which could open up a lot of possibilities for folks. And of course, if you're worried about, well, I have stuff built already, where that fab kit would go, there is Katia's builder toolkit that can help kind of alleviate the pain of rebuilding certain places if possible. Again, the Ferris wheel we have, but if you'll look, let's see, I'm trying to see if there's another one. I know we saw one, there was a screenshot of it. I'm going to go ahead and do the quest part for these little fab kit areas, and fingers crossed a different little deal pops up. Let's see what he builds this time. Maybe something new. Maybe not, but we'll see. So that's the geyser one that came recently. Let's try this one. But basically, it's just to kind of give a new player an idea that there's a lot of possibilities with their plot as far as what can or be included. I think this is the haunted one. A shame that it doesn't let you keep talking to him. Like I said, if you go through the PTR, as people keep turning in their little quest bits, it changes up and everything. And notice the little WildStar guys have these little hats on. Some of them have hard hats. There's a top hat one. These has got the little fezzes. That's pretty funny too. It'd be nice to have a variety of different little clones rather than just the general one. Now this one, he shows you placement possibilities and how you can size and just kind of do it. I know there's a few builders that say, well, why can't they show a beginner player the possibility as far as like cobbling goes, like putting, yeah, he's on the other side. We'll see him shortly with the judge's hat. But showing how to take 2 or 3 or more items and mushing them together and making something new. I kind of disagree that that's suitable for this kind of tutorial. I think that's a little bit advanced, and I don't think the majority of builders actually do that kind of stuff. Yeah, there is a big following of that, but I think the majority just leave it kind of the basics. They're more interested in the functional fab kits, the decor that gives them the buffs. So I don't think it's really appropriate, at least at this stage, to introduce something that complex. I think the basics that they're covering here is more than adequate. Yeah, kind of reminds me of the hat that I have at the store at the mall, where her hat is sticking out of it. But I think they've done a good job. While you don't actually touch the items and move it yourself, they kind of give you the idea that that's how it works. I think Kadian was on the PTR last night and was saying that it would be pretty difficult. There was already discussion that the more people that are on this particular phase of the tutorial, everybody shows up in the same instance. So it became quite laggy because there's a bit of a drop or a pause every time a fab kit is built. There's like a little bit of a little lag spike or whatever. And last night when we went through the first time, my husband and I, there was like, I don't know, 30 or so people going through at the same time, and so it was like just constant lag. And I think they were worried that if they tried to allow people to individually manipulate the core give them like a hands-on kind of tutorial, that might increase it. I know some have suggested that they just simply instance the whole thing, so that maybe you go into a plot by yourself, an instance area, and PTR means player test realm, Benny. This is not on live. This is stuff that is coming. This is a glimpse of the housing tutorial for beginner players. It's in the novice thing. Does my son play video games? Yes. He does not play WildStar, but he plays League of Legends. I think that's his main game at the moment. We are a gaming family. Anywho, I know a lot of people have been suggesting that maybe they instance it that way. There can be a bit of a more hands-on kind of thing, explain how to actually change walk them through how to use the housing, like remodeling options for like the sky. I mean, there's mention of it from the NPCs here on this plot, but it doesn't really walk you through the steps as far as how to change it. And maybe talk about where you could get the decor, and that it's not just from here, but from all facets of the game, really. Yeah, we all have our own computers. I think we would be pretty maniacal if we didn't. At one point, we shared a single computer, and just eventually over the years, we've branched out and we have our own. And my son and myself, we have dual monitors, so it works out really good. So we're kind of like I said, we're like a gaming family. That's very important to us, having a setup that is comfortable for us. That one's an existing one. Here's like a little tiki set. It looks like a fab kit of some sort of little tiki party. But look at the bamboo pipes. How would you love some of those as building materials for like making your own little native villages, or frameworks for your house or something. You can make little flutes for your guys. That would be great for an organ, an underwater organ or something. Even the string lights would be fun to have. But also take a notice at the little tables here. They're little bamboo tables as well. That'd be good for like little rafts people want to put in the water. Um, Good for, again, maybe tilt them and use them as walls for buildings. They would work probably well as roofing, especially since they have shorter little legs, and not these big old poles that the tiki roofs have. Uh, so yeah, I see a lot of potential there. It's, again, any materials interesting like that is going to be fun to play with. Maybe shutters for windows, that kind of thing. All sorts of stuff I can imagine. Look at these beautiful little rose flowers. I assume they're like supposed to be more like bushes just due to the size. But how pretty are those? That'd be great on some of the hats I've made. Yeah, definitely, Maddie. And you can see they come in various like shades. One's like dark purple, the other one's more kind of a light pinkish. And even the shapings are different. This one's a little bent here. This one's fatter. It looks like several different varieties there. They're not exactly hollow per se. I mean, they've got like solid ends, but still, it'd be nice to have. Oops, stuck there. Again, I'm looking at the plants too. I mean, look at these bushes. These look really nice and full. But I love the pretty roses. Those look really nice. Great for cake decorations. Um, I don't know what else you could use those on. A lot of Valentine plots, I think, would probably like them. You know, maybe making your own couch pillows and have little rose decoration on them or something. That would be fun. Look at this bush here. It's a nice pointed thing. So here, of course, is the lot party fab kit. And then the fellas that talk about the music and the sky. Notice they do have the jukebox. It's been on the Decor Shopper for some time. We saw a few, like I think Wildweave did a data mining thing where they were showing it. Notice it's not animated. I don't know if it moves when I talk to the guy or not, but I'm not going to bother with that. But still, pretty cute little item. It'd be nice if they go ahead and add it. Yeah, they are very nice and green. You know, pretty bright. Almost matches, I would say, the overgrowth that we have. It's that bright. This is the grass here is okay, but it's also kind of a dingy yellow. And this, I think, would match better with like the Celestion ground and everything. I think that would be really good. But yeah, there's the jukebox that everybody's been raving about and wanting and stuff. So it's there, it's in the game. It's just not been added as a live decor item that we can obtain, which is disappointing. But yeah, look at his little his head popping through. The top hat works the best because it's got that raised little bit to cover that up. And of course, this is one of the proto homes, the little mini fab kit homes, and that being the Shades Eve version. Over here we have a little tea set thing, kind of showcasing the new decor that they have for that. But I'm also looking at the tree. Really like the tree. I mean, look at the trees over there. Let's see. I mean, that one, it looks like the cerulean sky growth, except the bulbs are green instead of blue, which I think is interesting as well. You know, we always have things where we want options as far as coloring and stuff goes, and that shows that they at least have a green version too of that. But I really like these here. Looks like someone else is running around. See, yay, there's somebody else. I wonder if they changed. I'm going to run over here and see if some of it changed when they did the quest, just to check it out. Yeah, see, this one is, I think that's the date one, the date party thing. There's a lot of stuff on these fab kits that I would love to have as individual items, and slowly we're kind of getting that, but slow going. But as far as the main house, I think one of the big things people noticed is, of course, the graffiti on, it looks like orange walls and curved walls and stuff. Someone suggested maybe it was like decals, some kind of decal type of decor. I think that's a possibility, but notice how this one is like running not only on the surface of the floor, but also on the railing itself. So I don't know how that'll work. Pretty strange and interesting kind of decor if that's actually something that's coming down the road. But I love the artwork of it. I mean, look at the little skull. Who wouldn't want that hanging on their wall or as a sign or something? There's this one here. And notice the little boom box sitting here. Notice the lights. They're like misfiring. They're like crappy technology. And look at the speakers. It's like the little regular speakers that we have, but without the clunkiness of the sign that's on the side and the beer bottle and the trophy thing on top of it. It's just the speaker itself, and they've got it in like 3 sizes and using it as like a little announcement thing. I think the coloring of the pole is a little odd in comparison to the speakers themselves, but some really fun graffiti though. It would be awesome if they did bring that in as some kind of a particle effect type of thing, so that whatever you laid it on, it actually just kind of folded onto it. That would be interesting. And this looks like they just kind of made that together with metal planks, doesn't it? Oops. Oh, I'm like so lousy with. And look at these lights with the 3. I can't tell if they just made that themselves or if it's an actual item. Obviously those look like the Chua spotlights, and then the lamp thing, the same thing that they use for speaker set, but then they've got this little bit on here which I've not seen before. So that would be interesting if we just get the parts and can make our own little lights. Or even better for those that don't want to do all the custom work, just get it as one big piece. What else? What else we got around here? Obviously the string lights with the dream catchers and stuff. A lot of people would like that. I'd love it if we could get just the individual lanterns. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It's kind of hard to tell what they've actually made as a single item, or they've built it up themselves. Regardless, I think it looks pretty cool. I'd like it as a single myself. But as far as the lanterns go, I'd love to have these as individual bits. Maybe that's just me. I'm sure they would probably just put it in as the full string with all the little. But look, it's got a little lock face on it. I especially love the carrot ones. That's what I'd want, the carrot ones. Where was the place I saw? It might have been somewhere else. They had the little shells, the wind chime. It was like shells or something. I've seen that elsewhere somewhere. Going to fill my house with a zillion plushies. Boy, where have I heard that before? So they used the speaker set to make this little dance floor. This shows, I don't know, the very simple, basic one. But I love how it shows some variety in some of the NPCs that might come available. You've got just regular folks in regular clothes, not always the prim and proper ones or the ones that look like guards, because not everybody wants their NPCs with guns and things sticking out. And this is a lot more like, I think, what a lot of people would like to have in some of their plots. You know, as filler for things that like in bars or just in, on their house in general. I don't have my sound up, so I'm not sure if they're actually making noise, but I still think it would be a fun addition. Because some look like they're kind of geared up, others look like they're beginner players. They're hardly clothed in anything fancy. This one looks like she's wearing some of her path outfits. So yeah, just interesting to see what they've used on their plot and thinking I would love that on mine. That kind of deal. Okay. Over here, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would love to see these little banners being used as like canopies here. But the thing that caught my eye the most besides that is some of the food items that they got. Look at the different bottles. That kind of looks like a weird water jug kind of thing. And then the bluish cans. Or over here you got the cracked open coconut. What you might use those for other than a cracked open coconut, I have no idea, but I'm sure somebody would figure out something. Some kind of weird broken bowl or something, I don't know. And if you go down here, yeah, proto beer, definitely. It's got their little symbol on it, the proto beverage. But you know, we've been needing a variety of those for a long time. But if you go down on a different table, I'll show you. We've got some varieties even of the existing ones. Here's the chicken legs. Finally, some cooked meat. We've got so much of the raw stuff, the raw steak and that weird little, I don't know, ham hock with the bone sticking out of it, and that meat rack with that big slab of beef on it or something. It's just nice to see some cooked meat, and it's like a juicy chicken leg. I could finally make an actual turkey with turkey legs. That would be fun. Instead of having to make it out of sandbags. See, here's the raw meat. They got plenty of the raw meat, but no stuff. But look at these. These are, here's the crushed bread can. It's also open, if you notice. And then there's also the crushed version of the WildStar one. Again, apologies for that crazy arrow showing up, but if I finish all the quests, then I'll be ported off, so I don't want to do that. Again, noticing all the different NPCs, all the different like hairstyles and the clothing styles. Notice the hedges as well. We've been talking about how you have the hedge maze fab kit, and we've been dying for those hedges as individual pieces. Well, here, whoever built this up for this little display actually used the hedge pieces individually. Wouldn't that be nice? Think about what you could do with it. Looks like they used this is an interesting overgrowth here because it doesn't have those big long vines that normally poke out. So I wonder if that's going to be a new one coming eventually. Because I think all of the overgrowth we have right now, no matter what one you're using, it has those big long vines that poke out. But that one doesn't have that. But I think they're mostly using exile pieces, exile pillars, and the decking railing, even for like this bit here, kind of a little cross bit. See if I can go around and go up this little tower here. Oops, I just fell right down, didn't I? See why I'm not to be trusted with jumping puzzles and stuff? It's just no win for me. Oh, come on, silly camera, move. There we go. Even that, I think, is a little different, that little swash of overgrowth. Now, that could be just part of the tree plant that's above. But it looks like it's like a double layer, like a saddle kind of shape. I don't know. Just kind of funny. Notice the wind is not bothering the balloons on this thing. Now, I don't know if this is like an actual housing instance or if this is just something different that they've set up, but it's interesting to note that it's not affecting these balloons, the little wind factor that we've been experiencing on live since the last patch. I'm hoping that whoever helped put this together, they realized how limited our food and stuff is, because they had to use the same stuff, the tacos and the sandwiches and everything over and over. Need some pizza. Pizza and cakes and pies, you know, we're missing some desserts and stuff. Anybody into pink? Probably wondering where they got these. And of course, here's the little protostar guy. You actually see Mr. Phineas right there. I'd love to have his little his little outfit with the big tie and stuff. I like this little stand for the little ship model. Is that even one we can get? I can't remember. I have a bunch of those models and I don't hardly ever use them. I would love some of these little desk things that they've got. Seen them in Fade quite a bit and always dream. It's an interesting little bit as well. Notice their little shop doesn't move like ours does. So they're able to put things on the shelf and not have it look funny, which irks me, but looky there. Everybody wanted that Chupacabra plushie, and there it is, sitting there on the shelf. So yeah, some interesting stuff. This makes me wish they would just give us everything all at once, but I know that's really not feasible because, you know, if you're going to release everything all at once, then there's no incentive to, you know, keep coming back because, you know, maybe next time something will be a little bit more available. I don't know if this is supposed to be a fab kit too. I imagine it could be. Kind of hard to see all of it, but it's a really pretty arrangement. Someone could like screeny that and try to recreate it a little bit, maybe. Definitely a pretty little arrangement. I'm not really big on the Drosera stuff, but because usually it's so bright. It doesn't look as bright here for some reason. On our plots, it's more like blinding, especially if people decide to, you know, make that as the walls for some kind of a cave or something. It's really, really bright, and they don't look that way here. If all of them were like that, I'd probably be more inclined to use it in some way. Again, NPCs just wearing some basic general clothes. Really like to see some more of that added in. Because like I said, the sets that they've been giving us, like with the guards and stuff, is good for those that it suits their builds, but we're really lacking a lot of just general plots, that kind of thing. Fortunately, nobody else has come through. This is probably like the worst time to show this because there's not a lot of change. So yeah, the only other thing I wanted to talk about today was maybe your guys' biggest wishes for housing. I know I've said mine quite a bit. My biggest is, look how the pool's off by itself. My biggest wish is more storage space because like with all of the new Arctera decor, I'm having to just throw all of that stuff that I collect onto a different alt because I just don't have the space for it on my main. Unless I just go around and delete a bunch of things that I don't really want to delete, because a lot of them are rare items, one-of-a-kind items, or just difficult to obtain items. And that's frustrating because while I don't really have intention on rebuilding my current plot on my main at the moment, I might down the road, but again, I'm having to send all of that new decor elsewhere because I just don't have the space for it. Whereas if we had like a higher, storage limit, or maybe unlimited, or maybe a shared storage, I think that would be, a shared unlimited. I want like the max. I want everybody to have access to the crate, and I want it unlimited because really, it's not like it's uh, taking up pixel space or anything. It's just a listing and the access to those things. And I can understand the place limits. I'm willing to live with what we have now, even if we never get an upgrade in that. I know a lot of people go, no, don't say that, but it's true. I mean, we've gone from 300 limit to, having like 2,500 on the outside and 2,500 in. So I'm more than comfortable staying with that limit, but the storage, the crate, I really struggle with that enormously. Because I'm like a hoarder when it comes to decor. I want to keep everything, and I'm really reluctant to remove stuff, even if I'm not using it right now, because I might want to use it later. And being forced to delete stuff just to make room for new is extremely frustrating. My other big wish would probably be being able to repaint things, I think, would probably be my next biggest. Like, say, maybe we like the smoothness of the Orin walls. It basically has no texture to it at all. Maybe we want that in a green or a yellow or a pink. Who wouldn't want a pink house or something? Or maybe give us different textures like a brick, or I don't know, paneling, like the siding for a house or something, having long strips of, rather than just wood, give us something that's white or beige, or just other colors. But yeah, I'd love to be able to repaint, kind of like, dyeing your clothes. I'd like to be able to dye my decor. Maybe I can understand specialty pieces not being that way, but like building blocks, I think that would be awesome if we had the ability to repaint those to other textures and colors. Just like the hover park pieces. Yeah, they're very flexible with the shapes that they come in, but it's always just that wood, the wood. And wouldn't that be awesome if it came in other materials like metal and glass, and maybe we want a carpet tunnel for a scratch post for a cat or something. I don't know. So Maddie wants more storage space plus shared decor cap between the interior and exterior, plus calm water decor in different watercolors, some hill decor in different ground textures, and more colors and textures of upper park blocks. So see, we're kind of on the same thing. I can understand with the water, definitely. Like the pool here, minus the little floaty thing, that would be awesome to have for like a tub, a sink, and in different shapes, not just the round. We'd have to have like squares and rectangles as well. Hey Poi, I hope the chat works for you today. Still lagging. I'm so sorry. I wish I could, give you some advice. I actually kind of Googled that yesterday, and apparently you're not alone in that. And there's lots of suggestions people throw out, but I'm not confident in suggesting any particular one, um, just because, I really don't know how that stuff works. I'm noticing the little path here. Does anybody else think that's different than what it is on live? I don't remember there being like little brick stones there. I wonder if that means we might get like little pathing stuff. That would be awesome too. Having some kind of way of drawing in a dirt path or a stone path or a concrete path. It just looks like there's more dirt. Now that might have more to do with them adding the different slots, the newer slots. I don't know. Yeah, it looks different to me. I don't remember there being stones on live. I know there's like dirt paths, but it's really not even like paths. They've actually made little paths here, but um, that looks different to me. Unfortunately, they don't allow access to the interior of the house, which I think a lot of people have been suggesting that they add that. I have to agree. It seems a little misleading, and it would also, maybe even if they make it so that you can switch what house is there so people can kind of get a quick preview without having to purchase to see what it's like inside. Because the current previews that I think that's on it is all exterior, and interior screenshots just do not do the buildings justice at all. Well, I'm hoping you get it sorted. I'm glad it's not as bad as it usually is, but definitely um, sad that you have problems with it at all. Like this little, it almost looks like a conveyor belt. This would make good tank tracks as well. Uh, or like a non-moving treadmill or something. That's what it kind of reminds me of, that texture. Anyway, Poi, we're just here looking at and admiring the housing plot on the PTR. It's like all the things we'd like to have added straight away. Yeah, I'm interested to see if this is actually coming to be something. That would be kind of fun. I can see a lot of uses for me for that. Maybe that means like we'll have lettering and stuff. I know the lettering here looks, well, that says USA, or it looks like USA to me. But usually the text is kind of like funky, weird, unrecognizable phrases and stuff. But it'd be fun if they gave us some lettering. But I'm really interested in the hedges. I've been asking for that for a little while. Was there always a back door there? I never noticed that. I never paid attention really, but I don't think there was a back door. I'm not really sure. Yeah, exactly, Maddie. I think it'll be important if they include it, even if they don't plan on showing every possible house uh, that's available. If they at least let them kind of go in and just see how expansive it is. And, probably a little demonstration of how one might could, decorate the room and stuff. I think one player suggested that they actually have some player builders design like a tutorial setup for the interior and let Carbine pick the best one, make it a contest. Um, so yeah, uh, I don't know, is that it looks like the Exile Spacious House. It's, got its coloring different and everything, but I never noticed it having a back door before. I'm questioning whether or not that was actually there all along, and I was just blind as a bat, or what. Of course, it looks like they've added windows and things to it to make it look a little fancier, because it really doesn't come with the windows and stuff. All of that is blank. Same with up here, and there's not hanging plants on it. So obviously, whoever's done it has decorated it up, but um, I think some beginners might be misled as to whether or not it's accessible, or if it comes like that. The back door, you mean? Yeah, this is the exile. I think it's the spacious exile house. Like I said, they've added windows and stuff to it themselves to kind of show what it looks like, as it, a lot of people might envision it with the plants and things. But I'm pretty sure the back door is something different. Like, it's hard to see, but it looks like they've got. Ugh. Can't really. Let me see if I can go up here and get a better view. Not really high. Oh, for crying out loud. Can't get to it. It's trying to get to the little greenery. But it looks like there's like windows up here, which I don't think that comes with them. And they look like the key-shaped windows. Kind of hard to see from a distance, but that's what it looks like. But I think mostly they just kind of decorated up to look a little different. But I'm pretty positive. That's possible too. I do think that it is on the decor shopper at the moment. I can't remember if it's bordered with the stone though. So that might be fun to I'll check that out later on live. But I definitely like these bushes and stuff. And of course the trees. I love the trees. With their little tendrils and stuff hanging down. I don't know, maybe that's one that's existing and I just never use it. I can't remember. Excuse me. That would be funny if the back door led to a different instance inside. Yeah, lots of little fun goodies, I think, that people would love to see. I'd love to see the little canopy stuff in different shades too. I think, is that like the exile colors or is that protostar? I think it's more protostar, isn't it? The blue and yellow. I really don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like with the little sky growth here. It's like these are green, whereas typically I think they're blue. The little bulbs, the little, I don't know what those are, egg sacs or something, little root bumps, or I don't know what they are. But I'm pretty sure it's a different color on the ones we have on live. I don't think these are new. I'm honestly not sure. I don't use a lot of lamps. Usually I make my own, or I hide the actual lamp and it gets lost in my stuff. Be interesting to know who built this though, put it together. Because I don't think we've actually heard from anyone specifically saying, on the introductions, like saying hello to the CBR after all the layoffs and stuff. I don't know if anyone actually posted that stated specifically that they were from the housing section. of the team. So I don't know. Does anyone know if Lament is still a part of it? Oh, did I not tweet? I had it set up and I didn't. Well, it's too late now because I'm probably not going to be hanging on for much longer. But thanks, guys. I appreciate you working to retweet that when I remember. I just keep forgetting. I'm so bad at that. And I even had it written down, which is even more silly. But yeah. So does anybody else have a main wish list or anything? Um, Besides these little shows, a lot of people don't really care about anyway. They're more interested in the house tours. Is that a different color? Was those always blue? That looks different to me. I'm probably just imagining things now, but I like the way they got this porch thing. I'm tempted to just take some screenshots of that and replicate it because I like the way it's set up. Yeah, the hedges would be fun. Because I mean, look how they're being able, to kind of box it in a little bit and just kind of trim. But I imagine there'd be a lot of fancy hedge mazes, maybe special shapes and stuff. Um, Using them as room dividers, even for like an Oran house. Um, Shrink them down and make them like little spinach squares or something. I don't know. Yeah, food items, definitely. What kind of foods would you like to see besides the ones I mentioned already, which was like pizza and cakes and stuff? Is there any particular dish you would actually want to see? I mean, we've got the pig platter. We've got a lot of raw meats. We finally got a taco and a sandwich now, and we got the fruit bowl. I'm not sure what other like staple kind of foods that could work for other things. We got several, the cooking pots, but we don't have actual like soup filled bowls. I think people would like that, so they'd have, wouldn't have to rely on using those witch brews and stuff. Coffee and ice cream. Well, we have the teacup, which would kind of fit like a coffee cup. And the teacup is now you're not limited to the single one. I think that was a big fuss for a lot of people with the teacup that you get in Celestion by, I think it's finishing the little special quest or exploration kind of thing. And now those are for sale on the Blighthaven rep vendor, I think, for gold or something. Yeah, I think soup bowls would be good because those could probably be used as a variety of things. Um, I'd like pizza for sure. Maybe some, I don't know, I don't know what. Uh, just like bowls of like, or barrels or buckets or something of like, we have the feeding trough that's got the fruit, like it's like a brown fruit. I'd like to have different kinds of piles of fruit, kind of like the candy buckets, but different. The candy buckets looks more like a little mound and it's just textured, kind of like the gold piles. I'd like to have one that's a little bit more bumpy or like maybe having so then you could have like cereal bowls or maybe pretend that it's some kind of salad or something. I don't know. I'd like to have apples. I know they've got the apples from the apple cart, but they just don't have it as a standalone. Yeah, Blighthaven, I think it's the rep vendor there, has the teacups, the one with the um, little bit of smoke coming up, which like I said, could probably be suitable as a coffee cup. Now that we have the actual teacups, which looks like the little fine china bits, the teacup that we have actually looks more like a coffee cup to me. Of course, these teacups are empty and chipped, but yeah, the coffee cup is now available for just in-game money purchase. I don't know how much gold or whatever, but yeah, it's available for your grab. And so you're not limited to one anymore. Before it was a unique item, but now you can just go hog wild and have tons of little teacups. Now, I don't know if the smoke that comes off of it, the little steam stream, if that grows with the size of the cup. I vaguely recall me trying it out once and it didn't, but I could be wrong. So that might be a good alternative to like using the bubbling cauldrons, because a lot of people want the smoke effect but not the sound effect. And as far as I know, the teacup doesn't have the sound. Yeah, popcorn would definitely be a plus. I've tried making popcorn like 3 or 4 times now, and there's never a perfect way to make popcorn because it's just item intensive to get those little bumplies. I think the best one that was the cheapest to make was the one using the gold pile. I think it was the Dragon Replica Horde or something. Dragon Horde Replica, one of those, some arrangement. That was probably the fastest way, but it was just kind of clunky because of the shape. All right, Bones, thanks for joining us, and have a good day at work. Oh, is that right, Maddie? Let me see. Is there... Let me look. Never really looked up close. But that would be fun if that's really the case. To have like little wall bits that look like... Oh, I see what you mean. They're kind of like, got little corner shapes, doesn't it? Like it's overlapping instead of a nice... Yeah, that would be interesting. It'd make for a great painting background. Jungle painting with like some tiger eyes staring out or something. See you later, Bones. I'd still like the hedge, the little square hedge that they made as a single item though, because that would be fewer pieces that I'd have to use, you know, or anybody else would have to use if they wanted to make hedges. But yeah, even if I think if it came just as a panel, a lot of people would still be happy with that. And obviously there's good collision on it, so you can't like walk through it. Awesome stuffs. Just wonder if that's like a little staircase we'll be getting sometime. Yeah, the water here, or where was it? It's over here on this little fab kit looking thing. The water here would be nice because it's a lot calmer than the river or the waterfalls. And I would hope that it doesn't come with a really loud sound effect. You know, just some trickling, like a little trickling brook or something, that kind of sound, that would be more suitable. May not be suitable if you're using it as a kitchen sink kind of thing, but definitely for those that have a lot of ponds or little lakes or calm little pools, this would be fantastic. Like the empty tire here. We have the tire, but it's solid, I think, on ours. But I'm always like coming in. Like here they have towels, but theirs are plain, whereas ours have patterns on them. We either got the stripe or the lop one. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the lop one because it's got the carrot on it, but still. Finally got the sandwich though. I'm Extremely happy with that. But yeah, I go along all of these fab kits that we get. Like here's like the jump rope. How awesome would that be to have just like some weird little string, or even well, that's the noose thing. It'd be nice if that was a little bit more accessible for folks. Or like the little screen with the housing. Us housers definitely need that. Yeah, textile, especially if you go like to the customization fab kit. They've got like all those stacks of fabrics of different colors and stuff. Um, I like drool over that one. It's like, oh, those would be so nice because you could like really get all out with like making curtain dressings and stuff. Because we have the drapes, but it's only the two colors. I mean, you get really tired of just the red and the white. Yeah, or even just the tire swing poi. I know a lot of people have swings and stuff, but a tire swing would work really great with that. Um, Maybe if it didn't have collision, let me see, uh, kind of sunk in. It could make a pool. You can make, if you make it bigger, or make a doorway, or, who knows what else. It's just like the weights. A lot of people have been making their own weight sets. How awesome would that be to have the pieces for that? That's what I do when we get new fab kits. I go around and go, I'd like that as a standalone item, that as a standalone item, that as a standalone item. I want everything in individual pieces because obviously it's there. The world makers have it available to them. They just haven't released it all for us. Because like I definitely like the roses and the bamboo tables and the bamboo and the lanterns. And even on this fab kit that we've had for a while now, I'm sure there's pieces on here. Because see, that's where those little different baubles, I mean, look at this pretty blue one. That would make a lovely lamp base. Look at that bright green one there. That one's pretty. There's just so many little things that I'd love to get a hold of. And claim it as my own. Who wouldn't want that little table with the lanterns on it? I guess it's more like a little announcement stand or something for one of those little lops, but I still want it. Yeah, I guess that other fab kit is the one that had the shells. See those pretty bottles? I'd love all those bottles. Just to give it more variety, because you kind of get tired of using the same stuff over and over and over again. I'm not sure what you mean, Maddie, by lifting up the entrance. Do you mean like elevating it, or like a tube where it's like still attached to the ground but like up? Or like, have like a hill mound and it just automatically pops up for that or something? I'm not sure what you mean. I think one thing a lot of people would love is to be able to move where the house is, or where the plugs are, where they're not stationary. It has to be a 2x1 on the edges, but to be able to like move your house straight up close to the entrance pad, or maybe off to the far corner. Being able to enter your interior from high up on the plot. How would you work that? You mean like without having, like if you have it covered or something? Is that what you mean? And still being able to get into it? Because there are some items that you can like cover it with and you still can access it. Granted, it's probably not very high. I'm still not sure if I understand what you mean. But I would definitely love to be able to rotate the houses, so it's not always facing the same direction as everybody else's, or just like I said, reposition it. Even if it's like There's only 4 set locations it could be. At least it wouldn't be the same for everybody. So they could pick one of the 4 and then maybe pick one of the 4 directions that it could be in. Oh, okay. So it is kind of like having the entrance just adjust to whatever elevation you're putting it on, whether it's on a decor piece or uh, something like that. Yeah, that would be fun. See, again, it's like having like super extra control. Like, for instance, maybe even if the house itself doesn't rotate, maybe you could reposition where the door is. But I'm sure that, they would probably have to set it where it has to be, you know, within certain specifications, because otherwise you might have someone put their door up on the ceiling or something. I don't know. Maybe that would work for somebody. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying now. To not always have, if you want to have a really high elevation, not to always have to build a tunnel to get back down to it, because that is troublesome. And it seems a waste to not use it in some way, because you paid the 3 plat to have the bunker house to begin with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, in that instance, I think it would be awesome. But again, I think it would also be for like even the prefab homes having a little bit more control over their orientation and position. Because not everybody wants their house smack dab in the middle. Maybe they want it, off to the back or more closer to the entrance. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could just have multiple houses on the same plot? Then people that are wanting to do like a town, um, they could actually kind of make one with all the different houses and have like, like with the Fab Kit houses, like the Halloween version here, but being able to pick different styles to mimic, maybe you want all exile type homes. You can just kind of switch it like you would these remodeling. That would be kind of fun. And then you'd have like your own little town set up. For those that, don't want to spend, because it really, even though a lot of us are really zany about the customization, building a lot of it from scratch, that's not only time intensive, it uses up tons of the decor that you would otherwise want to spend on just the actual interior decorations of those buildings. If we could just have more of those buildings, it would be fun if, even if it was a faux building, like what we do now with the basic construction of a lot of towns, if we could just have little faux buildings that come as is pieces, that would be fun, I think. Then people that want to set up a town could have a lot more flexibility as far as the buildings that they actually make accessible for the interior. Then they have more decor to put in those particular places. Of course, I know there are a lot of builders that are really anti-faux, but I think it has its place and purpose. Excuse me. What about you, Poi? What is your big housing wish list? I know a lot of people are really interested in having not just the decor place limits raised, but adjustments on like lighting allotments and special decor allotments. I really don't use a whole lot of special decor, which I think that covers like the NPCs and stuff. Um, in fact, it's only my main plot that uses any of those, I think, or most of those. But I know for sure lighting is a big issue, especially for those that do build their houses fully custom. it becomes really problematic because a lot of the sky options, if you do opt for a dark one, then you definitely have to have a lot of good lighting. What I would like to is have lighting options without the decor attached to them. Just have like a like a square of light, if that makes sense, or like a sphere of light that emits something, and kind of like, the particle effects, but have it just, you can like put it in the center of the room and it lights up that space, and you can, enlarge it or reduce the size according to the space that you're putting it in. I think that would be fun. Um, and of course, raising the limit enough so that you could set that up for, a good amount of rooms. I'm not talking like hundreds per se, but well, maybe I am, because I think the lighting limit is what, 40? I'm not sure if that counts interior only or if it's both. I think it's separately now. But especially on the exterior, I think the lighting bit should be, a lot higher. And it would be fun to not have to worry about hiding the lamp or the sconce or whatever brackets that you don't want showing. You just want the light, and I think that would be fun to have. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, that would be, especially since I think the one clock face that we do actually have, the hanging clock, it moves. So that's kind of problematic for those that actually want something stationary. Um, because the animations and the sound effects and stuff, they're all fun, but like Adelon, he made an item with a bunch of those pylons, and I listened to the video, and it's like mind-numbing, the sound that you get with all of those combined. So it'd be great if you could either ideally individually turn things off or on if you want it to be interactive, or because it would be great if some of the items that are actually interactable, sometimes I wish they weren't, and then other times I wish those that aren't interactable were. um, but like if I'm using a chair as not a chair, I would like to be able to turn off the interactability for it so that it doesn't light up green, for one, and plus the person can't actually sit on it. Because maybe I'm using it in a cobbled piece to make it into something else, and that kind of throws it off if people are thinking, well, I should be able to sit on it, but I can't. Um, Stuff like that. But yeah, yeah, the bracket is another problem. It's like some of the banners and stuff. You want the banner, but not the pole that it's sitting on, or the brackets that it's attached to, and things like that. I think the only one that's really minimalist on that is the Merg banner, and not everybody wants, that raggedy red thing. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm sure folks would love to have, and probably not everything is feasible, or it would take a lot of manpower and hours and coding to kind of fix, but like having the tools to be able to make these paths like they have, that would be so fun to be able to just kind of throw in, I want a path here or a brick there, or maybe a street, like cement walkway or stone walkway. That would be great. Yeah, I understand. We saw some examples, I guess it was yesterday, in one of the houses we toured, where they used that hanging clock for their grandfather clock. But the way they got around it is they built the grandfather clock into like a shelving for books and stuff. So you didn't really notice the bracketry. It was covered up. But if you're just wanting the standalone grandfather clock, yeah, that's pretty tough. And of course, if you try to make a little clock face with like the numbers or just little indications of like the 12 and the 6 and the 3 and the 9, then you get into parts where the further away you are, then you can't see the pieces because at a certain distance, a lot of things kind of vanish because the rendering doesn't quite, work. So you have to fiddle with items that won't disappear at a certain distance, and it just becomes a big pain. Another big wish of mine is letters and numbers. Um, I think it would just solve a lot of problems for a lot of people when they're wanting to make signs and things like that. Yes, I know there are those that would probably abuse it and make rude words and things, but there's people that do that anyway with like 2x4s and stuff if they want. It's like with the plushies, there's some that put them in like compromising positions and stuff. You just learn to avoid those particular plots. But I think having actual letters that don't disappear, 2 steps away, letters and numbers would be a wonderful addition. While the signs and a lot of the lettering in the game is more based on like a foreign language kind of thing, for us plotters, I think it's real important that we have access to something to better communicate to our visitors certain things. I mean, if we have a shop that we can say, clock shop, or yeah, we can get kind of creative and making certain signs that kind of help with that. But I think a lot of people would like to be able to have, their custom shop name in bright letters. Not just do it. You could make some neon letters; those would work nicely, and neon in different colors. You could make metal letters, wood letters. That way it works with a variety of different themes. I just think that would be a helpful addition. I'm sure one of the builders I know, they've ended up made a ton of signs using bananas. That's probably my go-to letter creator too, because it's bright, it's colorful, and it used to be that you could be at a pretty good distance and still see the bananas, even if you had them fairly small. I think that's changed, and they realized that too, that you kind of have to be up close to read it clearly. But because like the 2x4s, they kind of disappear on a lot of materials, and you can't really see them very well. Well, I know there's several that we've toured that have grandfather clocks, and I know there's a couple of screenshots in the custom built decor showcase thread. And it's great even if, you're taking inspiration for someone else on how they might have put together. It doesn't mean that I still like it when I see. The only problem I have is when people duplicate it too much like the original. It's one thing to be inspired by somebody, but don't do it brick for brick, so to speak. But like I've seen, I think it was Das Moose that had a building with a big clock on it because he was doing the Back to the Future kind of thing with the lightning strike and everything. And from there on, I saw a lot of people trying different options, and some looked really close to his, and others were different. But a lot of it is just because there's a lot of items that they're perfect for that, like the hands using the Merg Dynamite. That's always a good one. I think most of my clock faces that I've made in the past, I've used I think it was the pointy Draken spear for the hands. The only thing is, if you have to make it really small, they kind of disappear because that little pointed part gets really thin. That's probably why my kitchen clock in my on turnips plot is so big, because I probably made it that size so it didn't disappear. But yeah, there's a lot of just the little basic stuff that I think people would love if they had more options as far as, while, like I said, a lot of us custom builders like to do a lot of our stuff custom, being able to have some of the standalone stuff prefabbed would be awesome. Now, I do know there's one person that suggested that there would be some way that say you put your grandfather clock together, if there were a way to kind of have that suddenly be cobbled into a one-piece item that you could, you know, export or trade or sell to someone else, as a standalone item rather than having counting, maybe use 50 pieces to make it. That would be fun if we could like submit our own creations to actually make them into existing prefab pieces, but I don't think that will be happening. I think that would be way more work than it would be worth. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys had fun with taking a look at some of the stuff on the PTR. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people on at this hour, so we didn't get to see the large variety of things. But I think it was, I can't remember who posted it, but one posted a screenshot of one of the fab kits. It looked like some kind of scaffolding, metal scaffolding, and it looked like I had a Piglet spaceship docked and like maybe like a repair or maintenance kind of platform kind of thing. So there's clearly some new stuff maybe in the pipeline, fingers crossed, and seeing a lot of this stuff on the tutorial plot gives me hope that we will be seeing these someday available to our own. In what capacity remains to be seen. Maybe these will come as fab kits like this part here and such, but maybe other parts will come as individual items. I don't know. But it would certainly be fun if a lot of these things did eventually make their way into our crates, because I think a lot of people would be delighted about that. But I think we're going to call it a day. I don't think we'll be doing another visit to the PTR, because I kind of checked the housing vendor and there didn't seem to be a whole lot of new stuff. It's just the stuff that we got with this last patch. But if I hear of any word of any new things like that, I will definitely hop over on that. But tomorrow it's probably just going to be back to tinkering around in the mall or some other plot. I don't know which. But just a quick reminder, we still have our 50th episode of the house tours coming up. It's just under 2 weeks away. So that means next week we'll have the exile tours, and then the following week, I think that's how it works. Let me check. My calendar doesn't want to come up. No, it's just refusing to cooperate. But I think it's the week after that is when the special episode will be happening. So be sure and mark your calendars. 20th of April. It's going to start roughly around 8 a.m. I'm hoping to be 8 a.m. sharp, but I may be here like a minute or so after. Look, that one, it rebuilt. What is it going to put up? Ah, it's the windmill again. I guess it just resets every now and then. But I'm not saying like when we're going to end. It's just going to be determined by how many people show up, how everything is progressing. I'm planning to do some giveaways, but I've never done that before, and while we have tested the software that we're going to be using to handle that, I'm probably going to be pretty clumsy with it, so I'm hoping it doesn't detract too much from the actual show itself. Mainly we're just wanting to kind of reminisce about some of our favorite plots, and I'm looking to you guys to submit your favorites so that I have a list of homes that we can kind of just go through. I haven't gotten a whole lot of submissions yet. I'm hoping within this next week or two we'll get a lot more. Poi's been kind enough to provide a listing. starter listing, and there's been a few others that have PM'd me and stuff, but I really would like a big turnout of suggestions so that it doesn't rely on me picking out my favorites, because really this is about you guys, what you've enjoyed, what plots that we've visited together that have inspired you the most. Maybe it's what got you started into housing in the first place. Maybe you just adore the theme and wish that you could have built it. I don't know. But I'm really looking for people to suggest their own, so that's out of my hands. It's more about what you guys want to see again. But if worse comes to worse, you'll be suffering from my own taste and everything. But so like I said, I don't know how it's going to go as far as speed wise, so I'm just leaving the end time just kind of open. If it runs for 3 hours or more, then it runs for 3 hours or more. It's, it just depends on how long people are willing to hang out. I'm going to do my best to give away most of the stuff that I have. If for whatever reason I don't, then I'll just do some random giveaways after that, because I do have a lot of item codes to give out, among other things. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you can at all, mark it on your calendars, 20th of April, 8 a.m. CET time. And, even if you don't want to attend, if you know somebody that does or should or whatever, be sure and let them know. As far as anything else goes, I think that's it. I really don't know of any other community activities going on at the moment. We did have the Wild Weave show, the Wildwear show, like fashion show planned. It has since been canceled because there wasn't enough participation. So that was a disappointment. I haven't heard of anything specific from Carbine, except there is a double XP explosion event this weekend. In fact, starting either, I guess it's tomorrow, the 8th through 11th, I think. So if you have alts that maybe you didn't get the jump starter pack for, and you're trying to get them to housing level, then this would be the perfect weekend for that. But yeah, I think that's it. Good luck with your own projects. Feel free to join us again, and I will try to remember to tweet. I told you guys I'm really awful with that, so I appreciate those that retweet and everything. Appreciate the follows. We've gotten a lot of new followers this week, which is a little surprising because I don't know, it comes in like little blurps. I'll go for weeks with nothing, and then suddenly I'll get like 3 or 4, and it's like, what? Sometimes I'll get one and I'm not even streaming at the time, and I'm like, why did they do? I didn't tweet, I didn't stream. It's like, and suddenly they decided to join. It's like, I don't get it. So I don't know where they're hearing about me, but I appreciate it. Even though I'm not one of those, I don't have like a notifier to say such and such has followed you or anything. So apologies if you're not getting your little claim to fame and me thanking you personally on the stream. Just I'm giving a blanket thank you for all of those that have followed, continue to follow, and especially those that participate in the chat, because it saves me from talking to myself all the time, which I normally do in real life. So, but yeah, enjoy the double XP weekend. Send in your favorites from the past tours that we've done. I know there's like an umpteen pile of tours, but hopefully you've seen some of them, so you can kind of draw off of memory as far as which ones you like the most. Or if you're like Pui and are very adamant about seeing all of them, then you're welcome to dig through all of the archived videos. They are available on the Twitch channel page via my, I think it's the profile page, and then you go to the highlights section, or you can just skip over to my YouTube channel, which is also linked on the page. I don't necessarily advise it because there's like hundreds of hours of footage, but if you're brave and have nothing else better to do, more power to you. Hopefully you'll gain a lot more out of it than you might expect. But Thank you guys. And if I don't see you tomorrow, have a great weekend, and we'll definitely, hopefully, see you next week. Until then, have fun, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.